Alrighty. Got it. All right. Okay.
Always twitches when I go live. It's like, ah.
Good, you're good, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Welcome to Wellness with Watson. I am your host, Lacy, and for those of you who don't know me already, I am an integrative wellness coach and a content creator at Earth Naturopathic with my partner, Dr. Tara Winston. I have been working side by side with brilliant physicians in naturopathic medicine since 2008 in the apple capital of the world, just a few hours east of Seattle. I've been Today I have a very special guest for our segment, The Hero's Journey, the beautiful Christy Zagami.
Thank you.
Welcome, Christy.
Hi, everyone. I'm usually not here on my own, so I'm a little bit nervous. I feel myself like, okay, here we are.
Okay, all right, all
So,
right.
yeah, I was a little bit nervous. I'm usually not nervous because I'm always doing this, but all of a sudden I got nervous. So it's probably because I'm like right here and you
You're
know.
in the spotlight.
Okay.
Yeah, you're in the spotlight. So, for those of you guys who don't know Christy, she is the wife and adventure partner of author, info warrior, and former Freemason Illuminati member Leo Zagami. You can learn more about them by following their YouTube channel and band.video with Leo Zagami. And I think it's on Rumble too, right?
Yeah, it is. It's on Rumble. And sometimes he puts it on BitChute. So
Awesome.
yeah, so we have our YouTube and the band video and then the Rumble. So you can find us there.
Yeah, great. And you can also
I'll
find
be
their books
uploading there
too.
also. I'll upload, and whether you want it on the band video, we'll decide what you want, and then the YouTube I can upload it on there. So
Awesome.
everybody can see me there too because they watch me during the week, and so they don't. I don't think they know me that well because I do little things, but I don't really talk about my book or anything. I've done a couple interviews though, so.
Yeah, I was watching a few of them. They're pretty cool. I watched one of them and then I watched a few with Leo and they were very interesting. There we go. That's better. Sorry guys, I'm new to this Zoom thing. We're both kind of having troubles, so bear with us. Um, and we are live streaming to YouTube, and this is pretty cool for me because I'm a chicken nugget, and I have a relatively large following for just a regular person, but this is really special for me because I've been following you guys for quite a while now, since I think 2019 when Leo first came on InfoWars, and I'm wearing my InfoWars shirt today. Um,
One. I have that
you
one.
do? Oh, I love it.
Oh,
Yes.
actually, it's a little bit like that. It's a little different than that. But I cut off the sleeves and I cut off the neckline of it. But they gave that to me at the InfoWars studio when we went. So that,
That's
yeah,
I think my husband has that same shirt.
it's
The
cool.
men's
They're nice shirts. We can talk about that. They're nice shirts and very wearable and very durable.
Yes, they are. So as I was saying to you, I'm so excited to have you here. We met on Facebook, and then I guess do you want to tell the story of how we kind of started chatting though, and how we started kind of connecting a little bit deeper? You don't have to. We don't have to go into that.
You
I
mean
actually have a lot of questions for you from your book.
was it from was it that InfoWars thing? Was that right?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh God.
you
So
don't have to talk about
I
it.
was like, it's kind of funny, but I was we had made friends we were friends for a little while on Facebook and I always watched you because I thought you were so pretty. And I would just see you there and I say, oh, Lacy Watson, and your last name is what I would say, you know, whatever Sherlock Holmes says.
Yeah.
So it's like Watson. So anyway, I was happy to know you on Facebook. And then I don't know how I think one day you wrote to me and you said, hey, you're streaming live or something, or they're playing your video of you and Leo on InfoWars. And it's the one where you are attacking Alex. Well, you didn't say it like that, but that was
No, they were talking crap about you.
I know they do that.
I was mad. I love InfoWars, but it pissed me off.
Yeah, they were
So
doing that. We were thrown under the bus for that whole thing. I mean, um, when we called them, it was a different story. I mean, I don't, Leo's not here to talk about it. It's really his thing. But actually, I brought myself into it, and so I was just giving my because I always be quiet about it. I just kind of shut up about Infowars and didn't say anything, but I felt a lot. And then all this stuff started manifesting, and I always felt things, but I kind of kept it to myself. And then it just things went real bad. You know, he hasn't been on Infowars in years now, so it's been a couple years. People don't notice, but Leo Zagami has not been on Infowars since he went on there and told them not to do the January 6th thing. So apparently they didn't like that very much. He warned them, and the people that listened to them listened to him. You know, there was a lot of Proud Boys that listened to him and didn't go. It was he knew. I don't know how.
That's why I didn't go.
They did. I mean,
That's why I had friends that went. I didn't go because of that. Because of him, because of Leo. I didn't go because Leo
oh,
said not to. I watched that and I didn't go. And a few other people, I think it was like X22 or someone said not to go. And a couple people were saying it was a setup. And so my friends went, and I had friends here from Washington, friends from Wyoming. They all went, and one of them had the FBI come to her house and stuff for no reason.
yes, it's happened, and it's happened to my friends too. I had some good friends that live around here that went, and I mean, they just went. They didn't do anything. They were just going there as Americans to support America, really, and Trump, and that's why they drove across the country. It was like a celebration of America, and we're all going to
Yes.
support Trump and go there. But then when they got there, you know, I mean, of course she's my friend, but you know, InfoWars was saying to go, and they were going to be there. So of course, you know, if you're an info warrior, you want to go, and maybe you want to be a part. And then, but people took the warning of Leo more seriously than others, and we knew it was a FBI psyop, and so you know, and then it all happened. It all ends up happening. And it's like, oh God, here we go again. You know, it's happening. So
Thank you to Leo for always being so brave enough, and to you for you guys for being brave enough to speak up and out against this, because I have myself been pretty vocal in the movement against pedophilia and child human trafficking and all this stuff. And people, you're painted a pariah when you come out against them. And even locally, I had an issue here. I told you about, a little bit about that. Just really. It's sad. I don't even know. I can't wrap my mind around it at all. How anybody could
a very
support these
special
people.
person to put themselves out there. You know, you have to find this kind of strength within, and that comes from God, of course. And so this strength from it within comes from God, and that God gives you the power to do these things, and you don't have fear. Like I've done these things with Leo, you know, where I have been really, really brave. And but I don't feel brave when I'm doing it. I feel pretty humble when I'm doing it, you know. It's just, you know, I don't feel like I'm just, you know, strong woman doing it, but I do it, you know. The fact is I do it. And it's with the strength of God, and only with God, that I do the things that I do, and that I survive the things that I survive. And I'm smiling because I'm not silly and stupid and a stupid little girl. I'm smiling because I'm happy, because I have God inside me, within me. He walks beside me every day. And I want to spread, that's my thing. I want to spread God. I'm not a preacher, and I'm not going to push I don't have a religion. I'm just I can't say I'm spiritual, because I was in the New Age movement for a little while. And that's all spiritual. And I will say I'm not spiritual. I have God. I believe. I'm a believer. So that's it. And everything that I see that you are too, because you can feel the light of God on you when you speak the truth. So that's
I
it.
want to ask you about that, about your testimony. So I had reached out to you, and I was talking to you about crystals recently because, as you know, I work in naturopathic medicine,
Yeah.
and I've been on my own journey to finding God and being a Christian, and I started diving back into the crystals and stuff again. And I messaged you, and you're like, read my second book. Well, I read your second book, and I just have to say thank you. Because what happened was I was going back to my old habits and using my tarot cards and my crystals, and your conversation triggered me to dig deeper into the dangers. And I watched part 36 of your guys' show on witchcraft, and then I met up with one of my friends and my mentor. And at the end of your first book, there's a psalm, Psalm 27:1. My friend suggested that to me before I read the end of your book.
Wow.
And
I got
yeah, and
I got
I
chills.
know, I read the end of your book.
Multiplying. Ooh. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I wanted to ask
How
you.
God works through us, and he bring. I have to share something too that happened to me last night. And it has to do with what you just said about how you kind of needed a confirmation, and maybe you get it from someone else also, but that's how God works. He works through people to give you these kinds of confirmations, or he'll work through, like, he'll give you an experience, right? And then that experience, what you learned from that, will come back to you at another time. And you'll, like, for me, I actually, I don't hear, but I feel like, oh, this happened to me before, and so that's how I learn, through my own experiences and how I grew. I learn more about myself, and God helps me to learn more about myself and how to do better, because we all make mistakes. Even if you have God, we're all human, so we make mistakes. So I certainly make a lot. But on to what happened last night. So went out to dinner. I live in California. I live in Palm Springs. And actually, we don't go out that much, but there was some Italians that came into town visiting, and they were here in LA at the expo. It's a new age kind of thing, and people go there and they sell books, they sell crystals, they sell all kinds of stuff. And so she was there for 5 days, and then they came here, and then they were going to go to Las Vegas. So anyway, she came, and when she came in the restaurant, I was when the first time I met her, I realized that, okay, she's new age, right? But I don't ever say anything. I mean, if it's grooving with you, that's your business. You do what you want. I don't tell anybody what to do, and I'm not gonna, because I've had too many people. When I was doing the new age stuff and I wasn't ready, there was too many Christians coming in saying, "How dare you? Are you a witch?" Judging me. And I don't need anybody to judge me. God can judge me. That's it. I'm nothing in front of God. So, and I'm very humble. And so, I know that, and I know I need a lot of work, and I'm ready for God to teach me. But anyway, anyway, they were there at that expo, and she wasn't feeling very well. And so she came in, and I was already standoffish from the other time, but I was just going to try to be nice. I actually put Leo next to her, but then somehow she was sitting next to me. I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to hear all about her and the crystals and whatever she's doing, but so be it. If she's happy with it, fine. But anyway, so she's like, "Hi, how are you? I brought you something. I brought you a gift. I brought you tarot cards that I made." And I was like, "Oh, lovely. I can't accept those." And I had to put my foot down and say, "I can't accept your tarot cards. I'm sorry. I can't bring those into my house." And then she said, "No, but no, they're not really tarot cards. They're like goddesses. They're all depicted as women, and you ask the cards something, and then it will answer you." And I said, "That's divination. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I don't do that." I didn't spend 10 years in Italy making mistakes to get to this point where, I'm gonna do that again. So and she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, actually, it's really weird you're saying this to me, because I don't feel good." And she's holding herself like this and kind of rocking. And she says, "I spent 5 days in LA, and I felt like something was like over my heart." She goes, "And all I could see was all the negative. Everybody was fighting with each other. Everybody was angry at each other. And I just feel like it was just sucking me and sucking me and sucking my energy. And I've been just feeling this. And it's just so weird that you're saying this to me now." And I just felt so relieved. And so for the next hour, I gave her all of the whole rundown on what she doesn't need to do.
Oh Oh my gosh, that's incredible. God was working through you.
Yeah, so
That's incredible. So I want to
I was
know,
happy that that happened because I don't want to feel like, I don't want to say anything, I don't tell anybody. I really do not tell anybody what to do because I don't like anybody telling me what to do. So, you know, that's it.
yeah, girl, yes, absolutely. I think that's incredible. And it's funny you're talking about the tarot cards because I told my husband last night that the hardest thing for me to throw away is going to be my cards because I have these, I started throwing away all my books. I've started throwing away all of my stuff, and I had these crystals and my cards and my altars I'm dismantling because I normalized witchcraft in my life and I've been doing it since I was 15. And I found Christ in 2020 again because I grew up in a Christian family, but the cards were the hard one for me to throw. So this was confirmation that I could just toss them and it's going to be perfect. But I want to know what
Get rid of my
was the turning
crystals.
point for you,
I'm sorry.
Christy? Oh, what was the turning point for you when you decided what was it that I read in your book, Your One Night in Baphomet? Talk about that. Tell me about what was it that made you shift out of crystals, using crystals and these other things for comfort just using Jesus, to just praying to God, just like trusting in God. What was it for you that did that?
Um, well, it was kind of like a culmination of things because I had met Leo, and before I grew up Christian Catholic. I was Catholic. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and it's very Catholic Italian family, and so that's where I grew up. And then I lived kind of this Catholic life until probably I left my house. Actually, I've always been Catholic, but I never really like studied the Bible or anything like that. But I always felt close to God. And when I was around the priests, I actually had a good experience in the Catholic Church with priests. I felt very nice with the priests. I was never molested or anything like that. So, I mean, I was lucky. So, but I don't know. I felt comfort in the church when I was around like the priests and stuff. I felt fine. And even the nuns, they were fine with me. Leo has another experience with that, but for me, it was fine. And everything was fine. I had a really rough childhood. We grew up very poor, and my family moved around a lot because my father was enlisted, and so we moved from state to state, and then we moved overseas and we moved to Germany. So I had a whole experience living in Germany, which I loved as a kid, and I actually appreciated it. And even as a kid, I had this like I don't know. It was just weird. I had this close connection with God. I didn't have a lot of friends, and I never had a lot of friends. I usually was very introverted, and actually, I was bullied a lot when I was a kid. I was bullied in high school. I was bullied, well, when I went, and I was bullied especially in junior high school. I was bullied in elementary school. Now, they bullied me, but like I would always stand up for myself, but more often than not, I took myself out of the situations and I just like kind of hid from people. And so I felt like I hid a lot and stuff like that. And I was also plagued by all the horror movies of the 70s. So, you have like all these things like, it was hard growing up. It's hard for all of us growing up. So when I talk, you can't talk. Is that how it is?
What?
Okay.
Oh,
When I
I can
talk,
talk. I'm just listening. Yeah, I know.
okay,
I
'cause
didn't want to interrupt you. No, that's for a different. That's my that's a different segment. That's where I just let people talk and they just go. And it's
okay.
about emotions. Yeah.
I didn't know if the mic turned off and I had to wait, or like if you wanted.
Oh,
I was just like talking too much.
no, you're good. No, I'm just listening.
So I grew up and I had a rough childhood, blah, blah, blah. We moved to Germany and then we moved back to America after we were living there. And I was about 12, turning 13. It was really a hard time. And my mother and father divorced. And I went with my father to New York, and my mother and my sister stayed in Colorado. We were living in Colorado. That's where I was. That's like, we were born in New York, but then we moved all over the place, and my family always went back to Colorado. So that's kind of where in the United States I was from, was Colorado. So yeah, so my parents divorced, and that was really hard, and I didn't get along with my stepfather. And then I was moved to New York, and in New York, I missed my mother, I missed my sister. It was the first time we were all apart. My father was having problems because he had PTSD, because he was in Vietnam. He was a tunnel rat in Vietnam, which is one of the worst jobs you can have. And so he carried a lot of the PTSD with him. And it could have been the reason why my mother and my father broke up. But I really heroed. My father was my hero. And I went with him, and I stayed with him, and he was really my hero my whole life. He always like made me feel really good about myself and told me I was smart. He told me I was smart all the time. And my mother did too. But anyway, being in New York and not having my mom and my sister, and then we stayed for a couple years, and we were pretty happy there. And then my dad announced right before I was going to go to high school that he was going to move to Florida with my brother and leave me there. And I begged him to go, and he said, "No, Christy, it's going to be hard living. And I don't know, you're a girl and you need to stay here with grandma." And so I was like, "Okay, I'll stay." And I mean, I was just heartbroken when my dad left me. My heart just literally broke. I took his pillow and I cried with it every night. I was really sad. So anyway, in New York, I had to start high school, and probably like within the first couple of weeks of high school, I was walking home from school, and this kid, he sat like in front of me or behind me. I forget if it was in front or behind, but it was in one of my classes, and he was really cute. All my friends liked him. And I passed his house, and he said he lured me up into his house, and he tried to have sex with me. I was a virgin. I had not even kissed a boy before. And so I got mad. Oh, I got mad. And so I basically kicked him off of me. I fought with him a little bit, kicked him off of me, and ran out. And so I was pissed off. I was angry. I went home and told my grandma, and she was so upset. And she's like, oh my God, you were raped. Oh my God. And so, she was so upset. I said, "Okay, just forget it. We're not going to talk about it anymore. We're just going to forget it, and I'm going to move on." And so I tried to move on, and I tried to go back to school, and it just was not happening. And, I don't know, there's something that comes over me. And if I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to do it. And so I was only 14, and I refused to go to high school. I refused. I absolutely refused. I don't know how I did it, because the truant officer was always after me, but I didn't care. I did what I wanted. My father was gone. Everybody was gone. So I was like, "Hey, I bought a pack of cigarettes." And I'm like, "This is it. It's me now against the world."
Bought a pack of cigarettes. This is it.
So I really, those cigarettes were my friends, because I didn't have any friends. And so I would go in the backyard and smoke cigarettes and think about my father in another life in Florida. And here I am in New York. But New York was cool, so I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna have fun." So I did. I had a lot of fun. I did a lot of drugs. I did cocaine. I tried everything. I tried I was in a crack house with this kid named Willis. I mean, you wouldn't even think that about me, because I'm all like this, but I have some seriously hardcore. I know what the bathroom of a crack house looks like. Oh, anyway,
I know what you're doing.
So anyway, okay, so then I was I was very promiscuous, going with a lot of men, because we all know that when you don't have your father anymore, you find comfort in men, and of course they were all older. It's just a scenario of what you hear when when people go through these things. So anyway, I ended up getting mixed up with the wrong kind of guy, and I ended up getting shot at. It was actually the worst crime family in New York at the time, and I can't say it, but you just can imagine the Netflix shows. It was from that worst crime family. So anyway, my mother came and got me, and I left. I actually got shot at, and this is all in my book, by the way. I wrote all these stories in this book, this one. So, but
On Amazon. You guys can find it on Amazon, you guys.
yeah, you can find it on Amazon. So then my mom came and got me, and I went to Colorado, and that was really like horrible because I was so used to having this freedom, and you can't give. I was there for 3 years on my own. I managed for 3 years, and somehow, I don't know, it's like through the grace of God, because I should have been. There were so many times I was walking, I hung out with the worst probably gangs in Brooklyn. I hung out in the Puerto Rican area. I hung out one time. I mean, I was just in the worst areas of Brooklyn. We lived in a nice area, but I would like take myself out of there and go to Third Avenue and take the train, and I would walk home at night at 2 o'clock in the morning. This was in the 80s when it was really, really dangerous. Nothing ever happened to me. I mean, nothing ever happened to me. It's just through the grace of God. I realize it now because I shake my head when I think of all the things that should have happened to me that didn't happen to me. I also never got addicted to any kind of drugs. As soon as I left New York, I never did it again. I've never done drugs in my life. So just during that time, I mean, I don't feel like marijuana is a drug. So I mean, that's separate to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
It,
it's plant medicine.
yeah, that's medicine. And alcohol is a tricky subject, but yeah, I haven't done anything like that. And I think that's a freaking miracle because I watch my whole scenario should be like an intervention, and I should have just ended up like really bad. I mean, this girl that had no education, and when I went to Colorado, I continued this thought form. I was like, you are not telling me what to do. And I had the real Brooklyn attitude about it, plus the mafia attitude on top of it. So I was like, oh, you're gonna do this to me? I know people, I have you killed. I was like that. So so it's just whatever. I was just a kid, stupid. So I ended up being in Colorado for a little while. I didn't stay with my mother for more than a couple months, and then I left and went on my own. I went to beauty school and I only agreed to go to beauty school. I would not go to high school. I had to go to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist tried to analyze me, and she couldn't really analyze me. She's just like, well, did something happen to you that makes you feel like you're so much, older than all these other kids? And I said, yeah, I've been hanging out at Studio 54. I've been hanging out at the Palladium. I've been on my own, making my own way. My mother never sent me any money. So, I had to find a way or make a way. So that was it. I was on my own, and I'm just going to continue on my own, and you're not going to tell me what to do. And that's it. And I was always really smart. So even though, I stopped going to school, and we'll just say it's ninth grade, because that's where my education ends, is at ninth grade. I'm a high school dropout. But I speak 2 languages, and I'm fluent in Italian. I learned it when I was 40, so that's not easy. It's not easy to learn another language when you're 40 years old. So it was hard, but I did it, and I'm proud of myself now for doing it. And I'm proud of everything that I've done, and I won't let anybody put me down. I'm learning not to take these criticisms that people throw at you, because I'm not used to being around such rude people. And I don't think they should be so rude and say such rude things, because I would never do that to them. but whatever. So people are what they are. So
Yeah.
anyway, okay. So I told you I talked a lot. So let me just like finish this.
No, you're good. So where did you
Like
shift?
I was going through my whole thing. I'm up to like, but I need to like fast forward this thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, I got married. I had 2 kids. We moved around because he was in the Marine Corps. That marriage ended up not that great. Then it ended up terrible because we got married when we were like 19 years old. So I had my first son when I was 20, and my second son when I was 23, and then yeah, I moved around. I was married for almost 20 years. I was a Marine Corps wife and I supported him 100%. He was an air traffic controller in the FAA, and he was a manager, and he couldn't have got there without me. I got him there. I helped him. I just like, I would help anybody that was with me, like I helped Leo. So anyway, so then the marriage didn't work out because a bunch of stuff happened that I wrote about in my book. He became an alcoholic, and so I don't know, it's like things came together. He's like, my dog is probably like upset. Is he upset?
Oh,
Is my dog? Oh, he's like, that's Leo. He's creeping. He's lurking
no.
around.
Leo's creeping. That's okay. It's okay for Leo to creep.
I have to say, I'm paying attention here. So
Yeah. So
I met
so
Leo eventually. Eventually I met Leo. I decided to get out of my marriage, and I met Leo through the internet. We met on the internet. I There's Rambo. Oh, you can't put him here.
Oh, how old is Rambo now? Like 20?
He's 16.
Oh, okay.
He's
Oh,
almost
wow.
20 though. He's been
Yeah.
with me since the beginning. So anyway, I decided with my son, my older son, he joined the Marine Corps and had left home. So I was like, okay, he left. So then I had been wanting to leave my husband a couple times for a while, because he was really a fuck up. Um, but so and you're distracting me. I'm trying
So,
when we met each other, Maury, but it's taken a long time. So we met each other because we met on the internet, and it was love at first sight. I felt like I was looking for him my whole life. I felt like I was looking for him when I was in New York. I would look for all these guys that looked like him. I went out with this guy that reminded me of Scarface because it reminded me of him. I was always going after DJs because he was a DJ. Me and him were connected from birth. I mean, I feel like we were connected, living separate lives from birth. So then when I knew when I met him, it was like dun dun dun. This is trouble right here. You're gonna change your life forever. So I deleted him. And I said, I ain't going there. And then I ended up adding him back because he found somehow a way to talk to me. He's like, "What's up, girl? Why you delete me?" And I was like, ah, okay. So I added him back. And it was just, I was giddy and happy, and it was just love, love, love. And I went to Italy, and I talked with my youngest son. I said, look, you could spend 6 months with me a year, but you're going to have to live with dad until you finish your high school. And he agreed with me, and he's like, Mom, you have to go, because he's like just this incredible kid. He's a man now, but he was just this incredible kid that gave me so much strength from my son. So I went to Italy, and Leo's in his own thing. He's got his own thing going on, and he had his own thing going on, before I got there, and it was still going on when I got there. He had just been arrested for espionage. His son was taken away from him, and his ex-wife had gone against him and reported him to Norwegian police. He pretty much lost everything. And I had left everything behind when I left Colorado. I left with a suitcase. So, and I'd done that a couple times in my life where I've left everything behind and just said, fuck it. And I can do it now. I can go with a suitcase. I'm not attached to material things, even though I seem like I am, because people think I'm superficial because I wear red lipstick. I'm not. But anyway, so in Italy, everything was really crazy, and I wasn't really ready for that kind of thing. It was just it was just all new to me. And when I met Leo, I was just like, he taught me so many things that I didn't understand. I was just pretty much, my family was always like a military family and very Republican. But like during 9/11, like I was one of the brainwashed ones that believed Bush was like the best president that ever lived. And, all of that. But it's funny that during 9/11, I felt triggered, like something was going to happen. And I felt like, okay, it's time right now. It's happening. Like I've always felt like we're waiting for an event, like my whole life. Even as a child, I felt that. So I thought 9/11 was it. And my father was the same way. He felt the same way. And during 9/11, it also triggered him. Okay. And I never talked about that with my father. I never knew Leo when my father was alive. He ended up killing himself in
Mm.
2002. Yeah. So, and I feel like it was a direct result of 9/11 that happened, because he died just a few months after 9/11. And I just couldn't, my mind wasn't, I didn't grasp what he was trying to tell me, because he was like that guy, that conspiracy theorist, my father. And he was like that Mel Gibson character, in that movie. He was like that. And he actually had a bunker before anybody, and he was storing food and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was actually living a life of in an RV when he died. He had met somebody new, and he was starting a new life. I had just returned from Japan, and I hadn't seen him in a few years, and so we were just about to reunite with each other. And I was so happy. And I had gone through this bad time in my marriage, and I tried to come out of it and show him that I was better. And then he died. He died, and so he was on his way to see me. And so I had to like really struggle with that for years, and I carried that with me for many years. But anyway, during 9/11, it was going to happen, whether it happened, whether he would have been up in those buildings, or he did it to himself. But it was because of that. So, but during 9/11, I was completely triggered. And so Leo smartened me up on that one, and a lot.
I bet.
I learned all about the New World Order, and I learned all about the Illuminati, and I learned all about it. And I
What
saw
was your
the
first
Illuminati.
response to that? Like
What?
when Leo first told you all of it, were you just like,
I said I don't negotiate with terrorists, and I hung up on him. That's what I did. It was a true story. And then he called me back. I was like, how can you say that?
and did that like start you thinking differently about God or like about the world, or did you at the time were you just like, are you nuts? What are you
No,
talking
no, no,
about?
no. I always believed him. Everything that he said, I always believed him.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything that he said, like he told me.
me too.
I mean, I had so much to learn. And then with him, we went through so many experiences together. We met people. My first date with him when I went to Italy was at the Academy of the Illuminati. He left me in the office of the Academy of the Illuminati for 3 hours. And so, I'm like, all of a sudden I'm in Italy, and, I'm in the Illuminati thing. And I had just gotten off the plane. So it's completely jet lagged, and
Mhm.
only like a couple hours. And I didn't even sleep. I don't even think I slept on the plane. I was so tired. And he just like left. I didn't want to miss it, because I didn't
Weren't
want.
you a Mason? Didn't you get initiated into the Freemasons? I read that you had an initiation, you like as a
Yeah, well, I
yeah.
mean that happened later, but what
Mhm.
happened was when I got to Italy, all these things were happening, and he was targeted from the very beginning. I mean, not so much, but it was happening. Like there was always some kind of target on him. Like people were always against him, and I wasn't used to that. Just
Yeah.
people always like just this weird kind of energy I was feeling for the first time in my life. And so, and then I started meeting people because Facebook was new. And so then I met this girl on Facebook, and her name was Nicole, and she was like really nice, and she's from Australia. Oh, that's cool. Oh, she's into new age stuff, and she's into chakras. And she says, oh, I'm going to send you this gift. And I thought it was really nice of her. And so she sent me crystals. and she made like this chart, and it had like a body, and it told you where to put the crystals on your body, and then you are to meditate and with these crystals, and then whatever happens, you're supposed to whatever, I don't know, even know what was supposed to happen. So anyway, I started doing that, and boom, it was like, oh my God, everything just started happening. It was like I opened up a door, and whoosh, everything came in. I started seeing past lives. I saw all kinds of stuff. I saw things that happened to me. I saw things with Leo in former lives. I saw crazy shit. And then crazy shit started happening to me. And it was all bad. I mean, just, it was just, it was illness. It was, I wasn't feeling good. I was always very, very healthy. I started to not feel good. My health just really suffered. And I was young, I was 38 years old, and my health started to suffer. And then the more I was doing that stuff, the more I didn't feel God like right here anymore. I didn't feel him. And I kept wanting to feel God, and he's like, he's not there, but you don't realize that you're not feeling God anymore. And the more you're doing that stuff, the more God is just moving away from you, moving away from you. But he's not moving away from you. It's just that he's so high, but you can't hear him because you've taken all of this stuff and clogged up the interference. So basically, you're taking all of this stuff and just messing with your connection with God, and you do not want to do that right now. And so don't do that. All of this stuff is really bad, and I didn't realize it. I shaved my head. Okay, so I shaved all my, it's not funny though, it was terrible. I shaved my head, and I wouldn't leave the house, so I wouldn't leave the house anymore. I became an introvert. Like, I didn't go out, because I didn't want anybody to see me because I was ashamed, and so the beginning of Leo's whole expose, his books and everything, you never see me.
Yeah.
You never see me. I was there. I didn't just show up. I've been there from the beginning, and I was there. I was there with him doing all the books. I was there with him fighting all the fights. I was there with him standing up to all the people that I had to stand up to. I'm a strong woman, and I don't have to prove that to anybody. I prove it to myself every day in the things that I do.
Yeah,
And
and you provide strength for him and a shoulder to
but I
lean on
didn't
while
have
these attacks are going on.
when I lost my hair, I mean, and I lost my beauty, because it was not only my hair, okay, it was my skin too. So God took everything away from me. He took away my beauty. He took what I knew. I mean, I knew myself for how I looked, and then all of a sudden I don't have that anymore. And I did it to myself. Nobody did that to me. I did it to myself. And I see a lot of people shaving their heads lately. I
I
do.
know, a lot of
I
liberals.
see a lot of people with shaved heads on the left. And it makes me remember how I was feeling during that time. And I'll tell you another thing. I wore wigs and stuff during that time, so I didn't never let anybody see me like that. I always put my best foot forward, because I always want to be my best in front of God, because I feel like I'm representing God when I sit here. So, I'm just trying to do my best. And Leo is the same way. And I've been like that since I'm a kid. I've been always trying to be my best, do my best, try my hardest, do my best. And whoever's with me, I try to do that for them too. So when I got with Leo, I try to, help him do this, do that, do the books. I was the one that, I don't want to say, because it's his books and he wrote them, but I'm the one who got him there. So we went to Japan together because I had a modeling assignment. So I mean, that was the first books that he made was with Benjamin Fulford, and that was because of me. So screw you, InfoWar, ban that video if you think I'm just sitting here and I'm a dumb blonde, whatever.
No, no, that's why I asked you to come on my show because I've been watching you guys and like I watch you on Facebook because you live stream and so you guys will pop up and I love your dynamic and it's just so beautiful to see him teach what he knows and you support him and it's just a really cool thing to see you on the other side of after I read your book, all of the different things you've been through. I mean, you guys have been through a lot, and it seems like your life has calmed down a little bit. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, when we left Italy, it calmed down.
Yeah.
It did. I wouldn't say in 2021, I probably had my most profound spiritual experience in my life. And I haven't talked to anybody about it. I haven't written about it because I haven't been able to write about it because I don't know how to write about it. I died basically, and I came back, and so I don't know. There's like no way to talk about it, and I'm trying to find the words and I can't. So instead, I'm writing a cookbook. I don't know. I mean, I'm talking about it right now, but I just I don't know what to say, and so
How
and
did you?
I had that experience, which is something to write about. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever going to write another book. I really don't because I don't feel like I said the story of how we met and everything, and I tried to put my journey in there and how I got back to God. We did like this tour, or we did Route 66. That's what I write about in my
Yeah.
second book. And so it was really exciting. We went around America and we saw different places. And like you mentioned one night in Baphomet, that's from
Yes.
One Night in Bangkok, you know that song.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Ouija board pillow. I'm like, ah.
But
So was
yeah,
that when you started, like, what was it that was like, I just don't need these tools anymore? And oh, my other question was, in your first book, you referenced the archangels a little bit, Archangel Uriel, and you had painted him. And I'm wondering, is that still a connection you have? Do you still communicate with Archangel? Like, how do you feel about all that? What do you think about all that?
it's funny because when I put all that stuff down, all the archangels went away, even the Holy Mary went away. All of it
Oh,
went away. So I don't
and
even,
the
I don't
Marilyn Monroe?
know, the Holy Mary, Mary, the Holy
Yeah.
Mary,
Oh,
Mary,
yeah.
Mother of God, pray for
Yeah,
us
yeah, but
on the hour of our
in your
death.
book in your book you had also seen a lot of Marilyn Monroe symbolism.
Never freaking goes away, this Marilyn. She's stuck all the time, like around, and I don't know. I'll figure that out someday, but she's just around all the time,
I
everywhere.
feel like it's a connection almost somewhere. Like there's
It
something
is.
there.
It is.
Yeah.
I have to live this life. So, it's like you live, not, I'm not saying nothing, it's just, I don't
Yeah.
know. So, I mean, there's a
Yeah.
connection there and people can take what they want from it. But I definitely have a connection with Marilyn. She's with me. I mean, she lived here in Palm Springs and there's a big 7-foot statue of her downtown, or 9 foot or something. Actually, yeah, it's like 9 feet tall statue of her downtown Palm Springs. She's everywhere. She's like last night I went to dinner, she's on the side of a building. I mean, Maryland never goes away, and this was like the only place that we could afford to go to when we came to America. So I know that sounds really weird because this is Palm Springs, but for some reason we found this condo and it was $40 a night, and at that time it was really all I know it was cheap. And that's all we could afford because that's all I could save up. Because I mean, there's just so many things that happen, including fighting for our money,
Mhm.
them trying to lock Leo. I mean, with all the shit that happened with me, I had a billion things happening with Leo. So,
Yeah.
I mean, on top of when I was shaving my head trying to, be quiet and just do my own thing, he had all this stuff going on that I had to be present for, and so I was trying to hide, but I never could. Like God always brought me out and always brought me out and always brought me out. And so I constantly had to like suck it up and
Mhm.
say, I'm not about my looks. I'm not about it's about me and who I am inside. That's the most important thing. I have to remember that I am special and fuck all of these people, that think they want to look at me this way. I am not ugly. Okay. So I took that side of it. God made me ugly to show me, what ugly is, and now I feel grateful that, I got my hair back and I got my looks back when I got God back. So that's it.
Yeah.
So
That's incredible. And so you don't use crystals, you don't talk to the angels, you're talking to God. And do you
and
go
I
to
don't hear
church or do you
anything
do
though.
anything? Like,
I don't
yeah.
Okay, so that's another thing. When
Yeah.
with the new age stuff, I heard shit. I heard shit. I heard shit all the time. I heard shit. But then when I stopped doing that, and then I had my spiritual experience, I stopped hearing all of it. And you don't hear God either, by the way. God is a feeling. There's no voices or anything.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
just, it's a feeling, and it's called faith.
Yes, yes. I would love to hear about your story of passing, but if you're not ready for that, we won't go there. But I would encourage you to write a third book because at the end of your book, I noticed that you had written it right before 2020. And a lot has happened since then. So much has happened. And I think that I'm going to encourage you to do that because, girl, it's so important to have a voice alongside. Leo is the man, absolutely the man. He's got all, I mean, like, I was reading his book last night, volume 9, and I'm like, dang, this guy is just, he
He's so
just
smart.
knows
He's so
everything. He just and it's like really cool for me as someone who had been diving to the occult since I was like 15 to find people that actually understand because people don't get it and they think you're crazy and it's like no you and that you know how I knew this is crazy. This is how I knew that 2020 was a scam. Fauci went up and he was talking on the first press conference and he did hand and coat to Jim Acosta. And I saw that and I started screaming at my husband. I'm like, this is all bullshit because I just saw Fauci do hand and coat. I don't even know who Fauci is. I don't know none of this. I just like am home from work right now watching this and here Fauci is doing hand and coat. And that is how I knew that everything was crap. And so I started going back down the rabbit hole and found Leo and like well I refound Leo because I've always heard him on InfoWars in 19 but I think is when I saw him the first time. But it was crazy. It was just crazy. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so refreshing. And that's why I was so excited to see you on Facebook because I was like, these people speak my language. They don't think I'm crazy. Like they wouldn't, like it's not crazy.
It's
Not crazy. I
not.
know that we have to wrap up. We could talk forever. You and I, and we're both Gabbies.
I do. I do talk a lot, so
I do too. I do too. I
I'm
do too. That's why I love you, and I love how you pop off at like in your book. I appreciate your mouth and your bracelet, like you're popping out and speaking your mind. I appreciate that, and that's kind of why what drew me to you. I feel like you and I have a lot in common, especially the way I'll tell you in a text how I met my husband, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh. I have a question, and I don't know. I'm dying to ask Leo a question, and I don't know if he would answer it.
you can ask some questions because I kind of like I went off on a tangent for a while, so
No, that's what I want. That's what this whole show is all about. Lacy Listens is about the hero's journey, and that was your hero's journey. And I do, it's all
I don't
about,
feel like a hero though. I don't know. I don't feel like I've
you,
done anything to be one. I just maybe I saved myself.
we
I
all have a hero's journey, Christy.
Okay,
All
we
have a
do.
journey. We
Okay.
all do. The hero's journey is just from transformation, from trial to triumph.
Okay, well, I definitely did that. I did have a trial. Um, I'm still trying to reach the triumph. Like I'm always like striving to do more and be more. And I feel like I'm just not never like honestly, in front of God, I don't feel good enough. And so I become very humble and I just say, okay, I'm gonna try harder. I'm gonna do harder. I'm gonna do better. Okay, I didn't do this right, but I'm gonna try next time to do it even better. And I know when I don't do things right. I know when I say things wrong. I just know it, and then I know what to work on and how it's hard. It is really hard. It's
It's a work in
hard.
progress. We all are, and that's the whole point of what I'm doing is to teach people that and to teach people to look at their life. It's not um I love that you're humble, but don't put yourself down in any way because you're incredible and you have triumph and look at where you're at from where you've come. I mean, Come on. It's amazing. It's incredible. Your life story is absolutely incredible and own it. And you're beautiful. And you are a central part to what Leo is doing. Without you, he might not be able to hold the
No, he wouldn't.
capacity of the
He wouldn't.
world that he's
He wouldn't.
got.
He wouldn't be able to do what he's doing with
It's,
him. He wouldn't. So
own that and love that and just be proud of yourself and be proud of
I
what you
am
guys have
proud of
created.
myself. I am. I am. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe
It's okay.
I'm
It's
always gonna
okay.
be humble. I'm always gonna be like this, and I'm always gonna be, maybe I'm just Opus Dei. I don't know.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So my questions, I have three questions I'm going to ask you really quick, and then I'll let you go because we both have lives to live. And I want to be mindful of your time. So I have a kind of a theory that I want to know what you guys think about television, phones, and computers and modern medicine. Do you think that those are a form of witchcraft? Because in my mind, I believe that all of this is all witchcraft. You're just taking elements and frequency, and so
So
you're
you
all
read volume
participating.
6. You need to read volume 6 of Leo's
Okay,
book. He talks
okay.
about this. We're in the age of cyber Satan right now. Do you know cyber Satan? So, I mean, you probably watched the shows about that we did, but his book on volume 6.66 is all about that whole thing. But actually, you're reading volume 9, so you should get a lot of answers. But yeah, of course we're being manipulated, and all of that is pretty like that's why I'm not on social media. And like I got rid of it. Was hard, but I got rid of, because that was like the only friends, like I don't have any friends, so like those were my friends. But I had to say, like, I was incessantly scrolling. I was incessantly looking up things I shouldn't. I was on my phone all the time. I couldn't concentrate on a movie without looking at my phone, so I gave it up like probably 3 or 4 months ago, and I just completely stopped. And I stopped doing my posts. I stopped on the Instagram, and I stopped worrying about what people would think if I wasn't there anymore. I'm like, okay, let them think what they want. I'm not there because I'm better. It's not because there's something wrong with me and I'm not on Facebook. And people automatically think, oh my God, she's not on Facebook. There's something wrong. And I had a lot of people coming in that never write to me, that only wanted to know how I was doing, whatever. I never hear from you, and all of a sudden you want to know. No, I'm fine. Okay. I'm just
Yeah,
on Facebook, and I feel a lot better. I can concentrate better. I can watch movies better. Leo's happy because he's never been on Facebook. I mean, on his phone on Facebook.
right,
When
right.
I say that, I mean, I'm still
You
on
don't have it on your
Facebook,
phone.
but I'm
Yeah.
not on my phone on Facebook. And so then I'm not on Facebook because I never go on the computer. So I still have my accounts and everything, and I go on there now and then and post things because it's important to kind of have something there, not disappear completely. But yeah, it's like I got off of all the social medias, and I know a lot of people are stuck on there, but I personally think that we're not going to have all of this stuff. So it's not going to, I mean, I don't think you can, like, you can't depend on this technology, and you can't depend on the electricity either, or the power grid. I'm ready for everything to go dark, honestly. Yeah,
It's
I'm
going to.
ready to survive. I'm ready. I'm a survivor. I've been surviving all my life. I'm going to survive what's about to come, and it's coming.
Yes, it is.
It is. So, hallelujah, it's coming. So,
Hallelujah.
we can't wait because the world is so messed up right now, and we need God to come down here and seek retribution and get rid of all this evil and make this the kingdom of God on earth that we want. The New Agers talk about this kingdom of heaven on earth, but there really is going to be a kingdom of heaven on earth. And it's when Jesus comes back, and
Amen.
he's going to come back. So in this life.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen, sister. Well, I think on that note, I will leave my last question. I'll just send it to you, and maybe you can ask Leo and he can tell me.
He
Or
can
tell
answer.
you to tell me.
He can answer. Amore,
It's
risponda questione. What are you doing? You don't have to come on the camera if you don't want.
no, he doesn't have to come on camera. I just wanted to know his thoughts on Eastern Orthodoxy. my husband had a moment where he was going to the Eastern Orthodox Church, and I grew up Catholic, and so it was a bit, I dove in a bit to understand more. And I was just curious about his thoughts on Orthodoxy versus Catholicism, because from what I
Oh,
understand,
God, that's
Orthodox.
a heavy subject.
I know, and if maybe there's a book that a chapter in his book that he can point me to, or a show, one of your shows, something. From what I understand,
Not
Orthodoxy.
against the Orthodox at all.
No, I mean, I experience the
Where
Orthodox
he doesn't.
faith, and I find it at times more genuine in the Catholic faith. Having said that, today all
Oh, he's putting his thing on.
religious
Come here.
institutions
No.
are a little bit corrupt. So, I mean, mainly you have to base your relation with the God through your heart rather than an institution. But
Yeah.
the Orthodox faith is definitely a more genuine form of Christianity that goes back to the origins. So
Okay.
The Catholic
Thank you.
evil. The Catholic Church is evil.
the Catholic Church has been now, after the Second Vatican Council, completely taken over by
The evil Jesuit Pope.
yeah, well, the Pope has definitely a dark agenda. But thank you for the great chat with Chris.
Whatever. You look great.
Thank you so much, Leo.
He doesn't have a chair. So.
Oh, it's okay. I just wanted to be respectful of him and be respectful of both your time and stuff. I would love if you guys covered that even more deeply in one of your next videos. I would love to hear more about that because I'm very curious.
About it, and then
maybe in the future.
Yeah,
it's a good stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good question, Lacey.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I am just stoked to have got to talk to you. I love your books. I just love you as a person. I feel like if we were in the same town, we'd be besties, and
I think so. I don't listen, in this town there's no like-minded individuals, so I'm surrounded by the enemy. God put me in it's like the pit of hell. I mean, Palm Springs is beautiful. It's a beautiful place. It's beautiful all year round, but there's a lot of evil people around here. And this one over here, my neighbor is evil, and this one down here is evil. So
oh my gosh. Well, that maybe you're put there for a reason to be the light, hun. So
I'm trying.
You are. You're doing great. And I am so thankful. So I will let you guys go on with your day with little Mr. Rambo. And
Rambo.
Oh, he's so cute. It's so cute. It's so good to talk to you. And I will message you and we'll follow up later. And you feel free to put this on your guys' channel. I'll send you the original file too.
Yeah.
Rambo! Oh, Rambo. Can you tell us how you got Rambo really quick?
I adopted him. He was in an accident when he was a little puppy, 4 months old, and his whole family was killed. And so he was with a Mexican family, and they were killed. And so they brought him to the adoption agency there in Estes Park, Colorado. And I had been talking to my friend. Her name is Kim Langford, and she was on Knots Landing. I found a person in Estes Park that was like this movie star, and so I kind of like glommed onto her, and I was hanging out with her. But anyway, yeah, she told me he was there, and I went and picked him up, and it's been love at first sight.
He has been on quite the adventure.
The start on every adventure. So he's been around since I got him in 2008. So I met Leo in 2009. So.
Okay, so that's how long I've been in naturopathic medicine. So, oh, cute. I love him. Well, thank you for sharing Mr. Rambo and sharing your testimony and your story, Christy. I look forward to reconnecting with you, and we will chat later.